Are your gesture drawings fuzzy and scratchy? Or are they stiff and boring? Introducing the new and improved BrushPack 9000. The BrushPack 9 trillion will magically transform all your drawings with a simple app. Hi guys, welcome to my gesture drawing video. While I don't actually have magic brush packs to create perfect gesture drawings, I hope I can provide some ideas that would help. The ability to summarize and abstract information from any piece of media is important for our understanding of it. In art, this takes the form of a gesture drawing or painting. As opposed to a deep, penetrating, and long rendering study, gestures give us a wide area attack that let us explore a variety of poses and character types. With an energetic and playful approach, one of gesture drawing's main goals is to help us discover the dynamic qualities of different poses. There is also a tendency for the drawing to stiffen as we layer more structure, anatomy, and rendering on top. In anticipation of this drop-off, it is important to learn to maximize the gesture or the liveliness of the pose right from the beginning. What's usually involved with drawing a gesture is first drawing simplified versions of objects and the relationship between them. These relations are often called rhythms. When a set of points, or lines, or shapes inspire a simple connection between them, that connection is called a rhythm. The smooth flowing channels between shapes in our drawing is often what gives it a dynamic and energetic quality. Additionally, by capturing rhythms first, we can draw in different objects and not have to worry about their relative placements from going off. The word simple has a very concrete meaning here, that is the use of only straights, curves, and S-curves, which will force us to only capture broad, important features. Scribbling and scratching are great ways to draw, but they are the opposite type of thinking that we're trying to practice with gesture drawings. While what is considered inspiring might differ from person to person, the silhouette and major anatomical lines tend to be obvious choice for rhythms, whereas the lines from a person's nose to his armpit connecting to the belly button down to the hip tends not to be overwhelmingly inspiring. A navigational note, gesture drawings can be used for many purposes. There are quite a few different starting points. Some are more object-oriented and some are more rhythm-oriented. I will be using a very specific set of predetermined rhythm lines that was compiled to flow naturally between common anatomical landmarks. First, establish the head and shoulder lines. Roughly estimate how far the pelvis bone is and decide its horizontal position. Lightly scratch in the overall gesture. For your arms and legs, use the fewest, simplest line possible before coming back and making an estimate on where it ends. Now use the rhythm map to complete the constructions for the torso. I tend to use a circle to indicate the pelvis region. The left arm is coming towards us or foreshortened. Draw the silhouette or the gesture of the arm and create cylindrical wrapping lines as notes. There's a variety of arsenals in later phases to further describe the foreshortening. Draw the enveloping silhouette of the hands and not the fingers. Usually simple triangles will do. Draw in the rib cage. Create the gestures of the legs using rough estimates of the average width, narrowing it a tiny bit as it moves towards the feet. And the gesture is done! Here we can add a tiny bit more information to the legs. A little trick to drawing legs is to keep as much of the gesture lines alive as possible. Limbs are inherently rhythmic. It takes very little to disrupt the silhouette. Rule of thumb, if you're modifying the silhouette of a limb, reduce your original intent by half. Start with a simple ellipse for the head. Draw in the shoulder line. Make sure there is a tilt and not in the wrong direction. Lightly scratch in your main idea for the gesture. This is often called the line of action. Use angles or head counts to roughly measure and mark down where the shoulder bumps and pelvis points are. Now construct the torso via the rhythm map. Create simple rhythms for the front leg. Use the simplest line possible to capture roughly the average width of the legs. Draw the rhythm lines for limbs longer than you need and chop them down later. Use arcs as a quick way to relate the length of the thighs. If you wish, gently modify the legs to indicate some additional information beyond the gesture. Draw simple noodle shapes for the arms. To retain a sense of velocity in my lines, I try to draw the rhythms longer than what I needed, but still barely made it long enough. Since I focused on the arch towards the back leg with this drawing, here's a version that expresses the front rhythm better. A procedural approach is great for building intuitions for rhythms and rudimentary estimation techniques. Here is a look at a more free-form approach, which is not particularly efficient for training, but could often be more fun and relaxing. Start with a simple head shape. Now draw a weird angle for the shoulders that's not correct to the pose nor track any anatomy. And now draw half of the silhouette of 3/4 of the torso with half of the gesture of her left leg and a weird rhythm that comes down like that, just like that, plus the back of the right ankle.
I am so confused.
Which naturally leads us to the gesture of her left arm, which we will promptly abandon for the ribcage. Yes, establish the torso and move down towards the legs. Nope, we will now go draw the left hand and the right hand. And forget doing gestures, let's first draw some thigh muscles and add a bunch of details to the front leg. Exaggeration doesn't always have to be applied to curves. Here I am trying to exaggerate the straightness of the front leg. And now we will finagle for 3 minutes on weird corners. Hopefully you followed along just as well as I did. Oh wait, and now draw the foot really fast. A quick recap. First, gesture is a great tool for summarizing and bringing energy to a drawing. We looked at the basic connective tissue of a gesture, rhythms, and how it can be used to harmonize connections, simplify shapes, and we discussed its subjective nature. We looked at 3 different examples, 2 with a standardized set of rhythms and 1 just for fun. For homework, visit line of action and do 10 1-minute gestures, 3 3-minute gestures, and 2 5-minute gestures, and 5 to 6 untimed gestures for a grand total of 2 trillion picobento points. Let me know in the comments if there are things about gestures that I should have explained or explained poorly on. Thank you for watching. Now go do a million drawings.